Over the last 10 years, I've worked with over 300 different entrepreneurs and businesses. And in the last couple years, the landscape has been changing quite drastically, especially for agencies. With inflation rates being absolutely ridiculous, AI having rapid exponential innovation, in just the overall state where the economy is right now, there are a few things, if you are an agency owner or just starting out, that if you don't adapt to, you're going to get left behind, and everyone else who applies these is going to run laps around you. So, I'm going to tell you the three things that you have to learn right now and master as soon as you can to actually be able to compete in the current landscape. So, we'll start with the most obvious one, and that is AI. Almost every single facet of every online business is being affected by AI, whether you like it or not. And you really have to adapt. And for agencies, it is going to be detrimental that you use AI wherever possible. If you are running ads as your service, your competitors are going to be way outperforming you if you don't use AI for your creatives. There's a plethora of tools that you could choose from. The two that I currently use the most are Ad Creative AI and Make UGC, and they will allow you to make talking head videos that look like they are actual content from influencers, as well as image posts and just different variations. The real key to succeeding in advertising is having better creatives, and the way to find that is to test more and see what your audience resonates with. 5, 10 years ago, it was really easy to win on simple creatives and not even have to update them. Now you really should be testing multiple creatives a week, especially if you are in the e-com space. It is ruthless out there. And really with these AI tools, it is much quicker than working with a contractor or a design firm anymore. Going back on different iterations and waiting for them to fulfill just for you at the end of the week to only have 2 or 3 new creatives to test, and you paid way more for it. And now you could really put out image creatives nonstop. And that's what you really have to do to keep up, because you're going to see your CPMs and cost of acquisitions really rising if you are using the same stale creatives. And especially working with UGC creators in the past, you'd have to send out a product and it would take up to weeks for them to get back with a video. And sometimes you would have to go back and forth because they just said something that was stupid. And then, usually, depending on the content creator, you're out a couple $100 a product and it took you a lot of time. And with Make UGC, while it's not perfect and it's AI, and some people will still be able to tell, it gets about 80% of the way there. And that will allow you to test from different creators and to see which ones will resonate with your audience, which persona will resonate with your audience. And then you could make more of that creative. Sure, you're going to lose some conversions from people not liking it being AI, but there's tons of people that don't care and they're still going to buy the product. So, with the people that you're going to miss out on, your lower cost per acquisition will more than make up for it. And if you're really against using AI creatives, you're going to really feel it. Now, something that I've liked to do for my local clients that don't really like I use Nano Banana, plug in their creatives into there, and ask it to make variations. It still uses their face, their likeness, their office, their location, whatever. But it saves me a lot of headaches and hassle of having to try to explain to people that are not really marketing savvy how it's going to have to look. And even when I do explain it to them, sometimes I still get back something entirely different. So, Nano Banana, the free Gemini 2.5 engine, will let you make variations, and they look pretty dang good. Especially if you are an agency running ads for yourself, you are going to need different creatives because, as you know, the cost per acquisition is super high. And when you book those leads, you want to make sure you close them. In my sales process, I've actually implemented an ROI calculator that I could show the client based on standard numbers that perform and what they are expected to get as a return on investment. And that has really helped my close rates. And lucky for you, I'm going to just share my ROI calculator for you for free. So you could use that on your sales calls as well. So if you want to grab that, that will be in the link in the top of the description below. So, on the topic of rising ad costs, the next thing we have is ad costs. Ad costs are higher now, and even with this latest Facebook update last week, it was about an average increase across the board of 27% cost of acquisition. That's at least what I saw on Twitter. That might not be the real numbers, but there is no denying that the ad costs are just insane. especially if you are targeting the US market. Their old $20 CPMs are quickly rising to 80. Obviously, with the rising CPMs, your cost of acquisition is going to be ridiculous. And especially if you are starting out and you don't have much capital to work with, you could very quickly put yourself out of business. So now more than ever, it's been very important to do cold outreach. Or you could hire some contractors to do it for you, but doing it yourself is not very hard anymore, especially with AI. The two tools that I primarily use are Mailshake, a cold emailing platform, and second is Cold DMs Pro for sending Instagram DMs. Now, there's multiple ways that you could find leads. I personally use Apollo AI, and most people do. And then you got to put them in a lead cleanup tool. But the whole premise is you're going to be finding the exact targeted leads and having their email and phone numbers. Yes, it does cost some money up front, and especially with Apollo and cleaning up the leads and the software fees, it is not exactly cheap, but it is going to be much cheaper to acquire one of these customers than it is to acquire them straight through ads. Once you create a good email sequence, you could just plug more leads into there and it kind of just sits there on autopilot. All you have to do is check on the replies that come in and try to get them to book in. I'm not going to go really into the weeds of it. There are a ton of really good cold email resources out there, and really AI could help you structure that and really following along with best practices for deliverability and success. But if that is something that you have not considered yet for your agency, I highly implore you to do that. And if you look on Twitter, there are actually people out there that will do it for you based on commission. You just have to make sure you are able to show them your close rates and that you do have legitimate revenue. Otherwise, it's not going to be really worth it for them if you suck at closing. Closing the deals is going to be your main money maker. So you want to be spending more of your time doing that than fulfillment. That brings us on to the third thing that you need to implement to have a successful agency: fulfillment. When you are starting out, of course, you want to be doing stuff yourself because you don't have the cash flow and the money to pay somebody else to do it. But once you are on your second and third client, some of the stuff that you're going to be doing is going to really stack up, especially depending on what you promise as your deliverables. There are going to be certain things that you're going to have to do every single day that are going to be a little bit mindless, and they're going to eat away at your time and your willpower. So then when it goes to actually scaling your agency, you're going to be a little bit burnt out. And if you keep doing this process over and over, you're going to see your numbers suffer. And this is something that I really wish I would have done a lot sooner, and it would have really helped me scale. And of course, it depends on the service that you do. And really, one of the best things that you could do early on when you're starting out is building a standard operating procedures library just of looms and screen recordings of what you're doing and how you want to apply that across every client. If every client's procedure is different from you, then you have a problem in how you are running your agency. To make everything simple, you want to have one client avatar and one set of action items and deliverables in the beginning, especially. For example, if you are running Facebook ads, you shouldn't be running Facebook ads for anybody and everybody that you could get, unless, of course, it's your first client. But you're going to really want to find a niche that you could succeed in and that have money to spend. And within that niche, you're going to provide them one service. Later on, you could expand to other things, but let's just say Facebook ads for roofers. Because then you could create exact standard procedures, creative types, ad copy, targeting, landing pages, and how you talk to the clients themselves. That could be broadly applicable to every single client that you get. That's where you're going to really save time, is you're going to create these systems, and not only these systems for you, you're going to want to hire out as soon as you are getting a repeatable process and you could close more clients. There are a ton of white label agencies out there that already know how to do it, but they might be a little bit more expensive than hiring a contractor. So you could hire a contractor on Fiverr, Upwork, or even put a free LinkedIn job posting. And you could pay them on account based on percentage or a set fee per every account, which is usually a set fee per every account is better. And once you get bigger, obviously you could have them on salary or track their hours, whatever you want. But that SOP library that you created, you just give that to them, make sure they apply that to every account, and you just check in, make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, make any corrections, and be quick to fire contractors that just don't get it. Because if you're going to spend all this time to micromanage them anyway, you might as well do it yourself until you find a contractor that you don't have to micromanage. So, with all the things that I've learned over the years working with multiple agencies and running agencies with partners of my own, I put together a PDF called the Better Agency Blueprint. It really condenses down everything that I learned, making it a more simple, refined process. And really, the ultimate goal will be to work on your agency, not in your agency. So if you do want to grab that guide, that will be in the description below the ROI Calculator link. And if you found this information valuable, I would appreciate a like and subscribe, and you checking out this next video that YouTube thinks you will like maybe more than this one.